Once again, we are back on Ekman Soch's ttalk train of thought with a series of an episode with Professor Brigadier GPS Cheema. It was interesting insight. So what we got in our earlier episode about in how in OTA like they've made a boy into a man like. So welcome to this episode. Now, can you throw some light in terms of a team performance, tank crew, and tank and weapon system?
Okay, sir. Now here we flow that finally I got commissioned there at Officers Training Academy, and I got commissioned to the Armored Corps, fortunately, and then from there I had to join my regiment. And now here is one life, that your training part as a cadet, and now you are a commissioned officer. It is something, there is no parallel of this in the corporate world. The kind of the transformation which is taking place. And incidentally, your commission is given to you by the President of India, and you get a written parchment from the President of India that you have been commissioned as the Indian Army.
Oh, great. Oh, wow feeling, huh?
Yep. And so there you are, because it's, army is not a job.
Okay.
It is a voluntary thing, and it is a way of life which is much beyond earning your livelihood. Right?
Correct.
And another thing is, like they say, that you never retire as an army guy. You remain the same guy. Only thing is that you're not wearing uniform.
Wearing uniform, correct.
Right. And that's why the rank never retires. And the rank is also given to you through the Constitution of India. And that's how, it is not a designation, it's a rank.
It's a rank which has been given.
So it is not a question of pride, but it is a question of great responsibility.
Correct.
Because you continue with the same responsibility towards the society.
Correct.
Because you are been given that rank for lifetime.
Correct.
So that is something, a new world that you are treading in. So when I came into my regiment, being an armored regiment, now armored regiment has they have saber squadrons who are meant for fighting, and every saber squadron has got number of troops, and they're called tank troops. So I became a troop leader. So I thought I become a great guy. I got people with me. I have 3 tanks. So I am cat's whiskers. So my very first day in the regiment, when I went there, and I wore my uniform with all brass pips. We used to have single pip that time. And I said, where do I have to go? They said, you have to go to the garages. So I went to the garages with my leather belt and, all prim and proper turnout. And so I went to the garages. People were working on the tanks, and I stood like this there. So one of my JCOs says, don't fold your arms here, bring your arms down. So I thought he's my junior. He said, you will have to go and check your tank. I said, check my tank? He said, please go and check there how many grease nipples are there at the bottom of the tank. So what he wanted me to do was make my uniform dirty.
Correct.
Right? And I thought, he's a JCO, he's junior to me, how can he tell me? Then I was told, you are still not been treated as an officer till the time you earn your rank.
Okay.
Right? And the way to earn your rank is that you will have to become a tank driver first, you will have to become a gunner, then a tank commander, then a troop leader.
Oh, so you have to go to the whole basic level as such.
Yes, but I thought I was already commissioned, I'm a great guy.
Correct.
Now, they were the people who made us into soldiers. right? So I went through under the tank. I still remember there were 24 grease nipples and everything. By I came out, my uniform was absolutely black with full of grease, right? Crawling under a tank it's a different feeling and a great feeling. Anyway, so I started my basic training there in the troop. I still remember my tank number was VX1111, and I was given the charge of the tank, and I used to clean the tank, I used to repair the tank, I used to maintain the tank myself.
Oh.
And now then thereafter we were taken for our training to a training area. Now I was the driver, there was a three-striper who was the gunner, and there's one JCO who was the commander of mine, right? And there's one loader in a four-man crew there. And we used to live there on a tank. One side we used to put a tarpaulin, and everybody, all four of us to sleep there, all four of us to cook there. We carry our own ration.
Okay.
So in the field you cook there, you are sleeping there, you are talking to them. So with that what happens? You break the barrier between an officer and a man.
Correct. You're on one task like.
You become an integrated team.
And what was the duration of staying away with being part of a tank like?
No, we always stayed with the tank.
With the tank.
But this training was about 15 days. 15 days. And when you stay overnight, when it's raining and there's only on tarpaulin there and everything wet and everything there, even 15 days is a long time, right? So we started from there. I still remember we used to roll our chapatis with the rum bottle, right? So, and everything to be cooked there, and the kind of food which is cooked there in the field by the crew is phenomenal, right? So that being apart, and my JCO used to sleep in a tent, but I used to sleep in that we call it a bivouac. So we used to with the men, right? So because I was told you are not an officer till the time you earn your rank.
Earn your rank.
Because unless I know my tank well, unless I men well, unless I know my tactics well, and unless I can command a tank and a troop well, I am not an officer.
You have to earn that to be part of it.
I had to earn that.
Good.
Right. So how do I do that? In that, I had to learn the tank driving from my buddies who were tank driver. I had to learn about gunnery from a guy with a gunner. I had to learn about commanding a tank from a JCO. How to command a tank? What is the cupola? What is the job? How it is supposed to be done? So all that thing put together. So the process is you learn from your juniors, you master it, and then you become a role model. They'll say, this guy does it better than me. He's even better than me. Then they will start following you. That is the only way to become a leader.
So it's all the process you're thrown into life.
Absolutely.
Good.
So unless you learn from them and rub shoulders with them, you don't become a team.
Correct.
And unless you become a team, you really can't contribute. And once you start contributing, then you learn on the job and then master it and become better than them.
Better.
Both physically and mentally.
Yes.
Because you will be put through all the tests, right? Unless you achieve that, you will not be accepted as a leader. You don't become a leader because you are posted as a troop leader. Sorry,
but you have to
go
through the process.
Earn that.
Good.
You have to earn that whatever appointment. That okay, I am there because I am capable of doing that. Now another thing about the tank is that it's the complete teamwork. Here, the driver can't see the gunner can't see the commander, and commander can't see the loader. Without seeing anybody, they have to do all the activities which are in sync. You know, a tank is a piece of equipment. It cannot fight on its own.
On certain command.
It will become a piece of weapon only once you put the crew in that. And that weapon, how good that weapon is, depends on the proficiency of the crew. If their integration is fantastic, if I'm a driver, if I'm an excellent driver, and my gunner is an excellent gunner, and my loader loads the ammunition which is required before my gunner can think of and do that thing, and the commander gives the right target which the gunner can destroy. Okay, all this works as a well-oiled machine, and they are sitting in different compartments. They can't even look at each other.
Oh, I see. So it has to sync with all the level, like
it has to be a second nature. Without talking to the guy, I must know what the guy is thinking and what is he up to, and he should also know what is my requirement.
Correct.
You will be surprised to know the safety of a tank is the responsibility of the driver. He has to take the path, and the exposure of the tank has to be minimum because your enemy tank should not be able to hit you.
Correct.
That is the job of driver. Nobody can tell him because everybody's survival is on that.
Correct.
And destruction of enemy depends on the gunner's ability.
Correct.
How fast he can destroy that. And they say, ek gola, ek tank. Not a second ammunition, a round of ammunition I'm going to use that.
Oh, I see. So perfect on the target.
Yeah. And unless the commander picks up the right target in the right time, the gunner can't destroy it.
Can't decide.
And unless the driver puts the tank on the right angle and the right place where you can fire and platform is leveled, the gunner cannot achieve the accuracy.
Correct. So
if the gun is tilted, the gunner can't hit the target.
Correct. Oh.
Right. So all this thing has to be put together, even uttering a single word.
Oh, I see.
So it has to be a second nature. You will be surprised to know. In 1965, Pakistan, went in for a misadventure because they had got the best of aircraft and the best of tanks in the world, right? The Patton tanks, and they decided to, carry out an operation and dismember India and cut off Punjab, right somewhere near Bias, Amritsar and Gurdaspur. And they came in and they called those tanks as indestructible. They were much more superior to the tanks which we had. We had Centurion tanks, much older, and the gun not that superior, protection not all that good. But the proficiency of our crews was so good, right? And the way they fought, when you take the concentration of tanks destroyed in a given area, that is the highest ever in the history of the world.
Oh, I see. That's perfection, like it.
When you say per square kilometer, how many tanks? We knocked off 94 of their Patton tanks, and in a place called Asal Uttar, and it's known as Patton Nagar.
Oh, I see.
And how they did it was, it was a 60-ton tank, our Centurion. It has a light gun, 90 millimeter. So the shock of discharge was not that much the rocking, so they could rapidly fire rounds in that, right? So they used to have a blind technique. So if the range is say 1500 meter, they'll fire one round at 1500, one at 1600, one at 1400.
Okay, different ranges.
And they'll fire 3 rounds, tuck, 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 before the enemy can even wake up. And that's the thing which hit those patterns and destroyed them.
Once you first sat on the tank, so what was your feeling like?
You see, it can't be explained. It is something, it's a beast. It's a 50-ton beast. And once it starts and growls and you move and all the dust comes on your face, I mean, there's no parallel of that anywhere. Right? There's just no parallel of that. And that is an experience. I think it is. It goes beyond any words that you really can't explain it. I think you feel on top of the world.
Yeah, I think it's an excellent insight what we got as far as a tank which is concerned. Like, maybe how the entire tankman and the command and the crew, how they sync with each other in understanding about the target which are set. I'm sure, like, if there's proper understanding of the things, you can hit the target in a much better way. I'm sure there's a lot of insight, the experience of 40 years of Professor Brigadier GPS Cheema. I'm sure we're going to catch up with him in our next episode of ttalk ek Boond Soch ki. So thanks a lot for being part of this show, and we're going to catch up on next episode with another.